tagged by Poultry Palooza Homesteader to do the 30 Random Facts collaboration, whereby people are challenged to just give 30 random facts about themselves, and then at the end of it they nominate some other people to join in. So here we go, my 30 random facts of things that you may or you may not already know about me. I broke my back when I was about 20 years old. I had a motorbike accident and broke a bone between my shoulder blades, and I did that on the day that the very day that I found out I was pregnant with my son. So that was a bit frightening for me. Not only I had just found out I was pregnant, and that was all a bit scary. I then had this horrid bike accident and was confined to bed and a body brace for a while until I had enough time for the bone to knit itself back together again. Now obviously it didn't break my spinal cord, let's be clear here. I broke a bone, so I compressed the bone and it was broken in that way. During my teenage years I thought about becoming a nun, quite seriously. I very seriously contemplated it, and to the point where I went off to a retreat, and I can't remember whether it was for a weekend or for a week, but it was quite a long time. It wasn't just a few hours of talking to someone, deciding that's what I wanted to do. I very seriously went away and thought about it. And if I'm honest, I don't know why I didn't go down that route, but I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I wouldn't be where I am or who I am now if I had done that. I was once on a plane that had to do an emergency stop. The plane was just going down the runway, and we got to that point where everyone gets pushed back in their seats and the front of the plane lifted up sort of off the ground, but the back wheels were still on the runway, and then a whole load of birds flew up from the runway and potentially into the engines. So the pilots decided that it wouldn't be safe to fly, and they slammed the brakes on. You know when you sit in an airplane seat and the one in front of you is really close, and they say in an emergency assume the crouch position, and you've got to go like this, and you think there's no way I'll fold up into that little space. Well, you do, and you do it automatically. You kind of just do it as a reflex survival instinct. So that's what we did, and it came to a fairly screaming halt, and we all sat there going, "Whoa, what's going on?" And after a little while we were taken off the plane, because they now couldn't use the plane because the tyres were potentially damaged from this skidding halt. So we got to spend an extra night on holiday in Spain. I don't think they paid for it. I think we had to pay for it. I don't think it was anything that glamorous, but we had this extra night, and then the next day we flew home safe and sound. And from that day onwards, I was no longer scared of flying, because I realised that, do you know what? Those pilots want to get home safely too. I don't like dogs. Not going to discuss it. I'll leave it there. I have got, I think I have a very good memory for details. Now I can walk into the next room and scratch my head and not remember what I went there for. All of us do that. But ask me about the colour of the roses on the plants in the garden outside the flats we lived in when I was 18 months old, and I can tell you, ridiculous, isn't it? And yet I can't remember what I'm making for supper, or whether I've already told Mr. J a piece of information I need to tell him or not. But minutiae from ages ago, yeah, I'm really good with that. I suffer from SAD, seasonal affective disorder, so I use a light box any time of the year that I can't actually get outside enough to get natural daylight. Number 7. I couldn't decide on a first name for my daughter. All those years ago, I knew what I wanted to call her for her middle names. Those were easy, but I could never decide on a first name for her, and in the end she didn't get a first name. She's actually called by her 2 middle names. Number 8. Slapstick comedy isn't funny to me. I didn't start homesteading until I was in my 50s. I used to work for a Premiership rugby team developing their junior fan club, and it was probably the best job I've ever had. Number 11. I can't draw very well. In fact, some days stick men are just a little bit beyond my capabilities. Although I was born in England, I spent more than a quarter of my life living in Wales, and I love this country. I love its passion and I love its sense of identity. I have a heightened sense of smell, so some products like plug-in air fresheners or spray air fresheners, strong perfumes, or even just fabric conditioner can give me a nosebleed. I spent 4 months bedbound due to illness in 2015, right before we moved to our homestead. Number 15. I love having a foot massage. I dislike dishonesty. Now, not those little white lies that we tell so that we don't hurt someone's feelings. You know, no, your bum doesn't look big in that. It's deceptive lies. It's lies at an institutional level. It's lies at a government level, and it's lies that are designed to deceive and to pull the wool over people's eyes and to manipulate them. And there seems to me quite a lot of that in the world nowadays, and I don't like it. When I first left school, I trained as a chef. When I asked my friends what they think my strongest quality is, most of them said compassion. Number 19. Although I was a child during the 1960s, I don't really like 1960s music. Number 20. The thing that I'm most proud of is raising 2 children who are patient and kind and non-judgmental and non-discriminatory and inclusive and open-minded. And if I had to choose what my children would be, it would be all of those things. I started university studying for a degree in applied social policy when my son was 5 years old and my daughter was just 6 weeks old, and it was tough. It was really tough, and I've never recommended it to anyone else. I have a thing about clocks. We have quite a lot of clocks in our house. Not because I have a thing about time, although I don't like being late for things, and I don't particularly like people being late if they've made appointments with me. It's not that. I don't have a time issue. I just think they're incredibly clever pieces of machinery, and they're just beautiful in their complexity and yet their simplicity. My daughter has a tattoo saying "My mummy" on her foot. Number 24. I consider myself to be European, and I always will. I still have to use my fingers to do my 9 times table. I'm a voracious reader of non-fiction, but I rarely read fiction. When I do, it's only by a handful of authors. Over the last couple of years, I've become alcohol-free, caffeine-free, gluten-free, nut-free, capsicum-free, but hopefully not fun-free. I travelled quite a lot when I was younger with my parents, and I was very lucky to go to quite a lot of different countries. And then I travelled again in my 30s and 40s when my children were old enough to stay at home with their father, and I could just whisk away and go and see friends further afield. So apart from the countries of the UK, I've also visited about 20 other countries, and on the continents of Europe, Africa, Asia, the Americas and Australasia. I don't have a plan to go to Antarctica, and as yet I haven't been to the very far east part of Asia, and I don't suppose I will now. Number 29. 29. While I'm making my vlogs, I very often laugh so much that it takes me 7 or 8 or 9 takes to be able to say the thing I'm trying to say. So what you see may only last 8 minutes, but it will have taken possibly hours for me to film, because I'll just be crying, laughing, and then I need to go and sort my makeup out, or I have to wait until my face stops being blotchy, or I drop things and giggle a lot. I have an incredible amount of fun making the films, and one day I may well do a a short vlog just filled with me creasing up laughing. And number 30. Chicken math has struck our home and I now think I have a poultry addiction. So that's it for the 30 random facts which may or may not be of any interest at all. And I would like to nominate James and Dee at the Happy Homestead, and Geoff at Brimwood Farm, and Lynda at the Lavender barn. I'll be back with my usual homestead vlogging tomorrow.